And we have begun.
Hello, everyone.
Hola. So this is our 13th episode. It's lucky, right? And I've got a list that's a couple days old, but a list of 2020 Democratic candidates in no particular order, I assume. And
Yeah, just go through. We're gonna go through.
the first guy is really big on meditation. Tim Ryan.
How have I not heard about this person?
This is why. Okay, I brought this guy up at the beginning. It's Tim Ryan's job was killing him. By the time he was 35, the Democrat was already in his third term in Congress, and he was exhausted. Campaigning, fundraising, legislating, barnstorming through his, trust me, this is worth it, through his swing state for presidential candidates, governors, and senators, it had taken a toll. So just after the 2008 election, he signed up for a retreat led by Jon Kabat-Zinn, the author of Wherever You Go, There You Are, and perhaps America's foremost popularizer of mindfulness. Expecting to de-stress, Ryan ended up having a profound experience that would dramatically affect the course of his career. A pivotal moment came during an exercise involving a raisin. Gazing at it, his mouth began to water. Proof, he realized, that the mind and body are inextricably connected. I decided, he later wrote, I would advocate in Congress.
What? Okay, sorry.
I was contemplating a raisin. And he said, I decided, he later wrote, I would advocate in Congress and on the Appropriations Committee for integrating mindfulness into key aspects of our society.
I'm down for that, but
yeah,
what the fuck?
Raisin Buddha. Yeah, let's do it. He's.
Wait. I mean, that's interesting though. Like contemplating a raisin, mouth watering, meaning that mind and body are one.
Yeah, it reminds me of when the warrior princess Ramtha, which was featured actually in our second episode, the warrior princess Ramtha said that she had this clip in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, which is a terrible movie that nobody should ever watch. But I have watched
sort of
it.
My that sometimes they put out lists of movies that'll change the way you think.
Oh God.
Movies that'll expand your mind, and that's the one I look for to figure out whether the list is bullshit or not.
Yes. Was this person an idiot? Oh, there it is. Yep, number 4. So anyway, there's this part where the warrior princess Ramtha, who at this point is a little over the hill that she climbed in order to become a cult leader, a female cult leader, which is actually, that's a big deal, right? Usually the cult leader who's banging everyone's wives is a dude, but anyway, she was getting interviewed and said that when a man gets an erection, and it was something, she was basically saying that like the thought is like instant, and so the mind and body are connected. And it's like you don't. It's a subconscious thing. It's like almost like a. I mean, I can sort of see where she's coming from, but also she just seemed really into erections, and it just kind of. It's like, oh, you're already old, yeah. But anyway, it was adorable.
There's a thing about cult leaders and female second in command.
Like, that's NXIVM had that, right? NXIVM and Epstein. I don't know if she's second in command with Epstein, but
there was that like Hollywood sex cult with that actress from Smallville.
NXIVM. That's the NXIVM cult.
That's the one?
Yeah. That's my alma mater is where Keith Raniere graduated.
Shit.
He when I was at RPI, Keith Raniere's like NXIVM cult was running sex ops out of Albany. New York, upstate New York, and they were in the news for raping minors already in 2013. There was an article. I don't remember it while I was at college, but it was in the the local, Times Union or whatever. The maybe that's the school paper, but it was in the local Albany paper or whatever. But anyway, so that just happened, and like. I remember right before I came to RPI, the Dalai Lama was going to come to RPI, through Nexium. They were going to host a big event. And this guy, oh God, what was his name? He had this really interesting, like Dutch name or something. But this fellow at RPI who was actually booted while he drove like this gray Bentley. He was just this wild character, but he was in the administration. He was the second in command under Shirley Ann Jackson, the nuclear physicist who sort of ran RPI and is paid more than the president of Harvard. It's like all this multi-layered corruption stuff. But anyway, the point is that she really wanted to have the Dalai Lama at the school. Oh boy. And he was like, no, Nexium, no, bad, not worth the Dalai Lama. And so they didn't end up hosting Nexium or hosting the Dalai Lama through Nexium, which is good because who knows, they might have like trafficked some students or something. It's like it's or I don't know, used it, yeah. But anyway, Keith Raniere, I can tell you, going to RPI, given that it's notorious for its male-female ratio, a really bad ratio, and just like kind of the students, it's like the second tier. It's like the oldest engineering college in the country, so it's kind of like second tier in terms of engineering and technical stuff. People who don't get into Carnegie Mellon or MIT or but that are smart and capable, you'd end up, RPI would be like, I still got a good degree from a good institution, blah. And it kind of, there's like a, kind of an unkempt quality to like B student, really smart B students would be kind of and that is kind of where you get your cult leaders. See, and like the ones who are like, I'm a genius, but
or entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, exactly, Andre. That's funny. That's the startup that we were on. That Edwin still.
It's not
that I was
referencing specifically, but I suppose he's a good example of that.
Yes. Oh yeah. And it's not the first one from RPI. Yeah, we got a lot of interesting graduates, but one of them started a sex cult that's connected to the Clintons. Fun facts with Paul. But anyway, let's not talk about sex cults. Keith Raniere. Okay. Yeah. What?
Oh, go down.
Right. So the next up. Oh, so Tim Ryan, the one deal with Tim Ryan is classic Rust Belt Democrat and friend of labor, and he's concerned about the fate of manufacturing. He's also an outspoken critic of Democratic leadership, mounting a quixotic challenge to Nancy Pelosi in 2010 or 2017. Okay, that's all. Kirsten Gillibrand. Edwin, tell us about Kirsten Gillibrand.
I don't know that much about. Well, I know that she used to be like a centrist Democrat, but then she sort of she's I guess reading the tea leaves, and she's gone way left.
Yeah.
I know she's like huge on the gender pay gap stuff, and just like the intersectional feminist stuff, generally speaking.
She has earned the enmity of the Clinton world for her criticisms of Bill. It's hard to be pro like Me Too and not shit all over Bill.
Yeah. So, but she's still like legit. I mean, she swore off. Do you know what super PACs are?
Yeah, and how absurd they are in terms of politics and money. Yeah,
she swore off super PAC money.
Wow.
So it's interesting because she started off conservative, but she's actually like pretty progressive, right?
When you say started off conservative, you mean for the Democrats to a centrist?
Dog Democrat.
Yep.
One of those, and then now, I mean,
did Biden used to be a blue dog Democrat?
Biden pretty much is. He said the most progressive person in the race, and I was just like,
yeah. I guess it depends on your definition.
I wouldn't claim that necessarily, but anyway, but Gillibrand's interesting. I think just like a lot of these Democratic candidates, they support a lot of things that we do support. On the cultural war front, though, I think she's a no-go.
Yeah.
On just like the whole intersectional feminist type thing.
People got burned still.
The ideology is definitely like baked into her platform.
Yeah, that's basically all I know about her from seeing like some of her tweets get boosted and stuff.
Yeah.
Next up is Bado O'Rourke.
Or as Jesse Lee Peterson would say, Beta.
Wait. Oh, is it?
Do you know Jesse Lee Peterson?
Is that an SNL guy?
No, he's like a black dude on YouTube who he says like he's like this older black dude. He's like 70, and he says like Jim Crow isn't real, like segregation is not real.
Wait, it wasn't real? He's saying like the past is a lie.
He lived in Alabama and picked cotton with his own hands, and he would tell you.
Holy shit!
Did not happen.
Is this you?
This
is this like
real.
YouTube Uncle Ruckus?
Gavin McGinnis he did an interview with Gavin McGinnis.
Holy shit! Wait,
it's like older black dude.
Heard of this guy? Wait a minute. I might have.
Like,
how recent was this?
It's not real, and Gavin was like, "Whoa!" He said it. I didn't.
How old?
Wait, what's his name?
Jesse Lee Peterson.
Oh boy.
His catchphrase is amazing. Amazing.
The Uncle Ruckus archetype.
Yeah.
it's like you were saying that in Brazil they have like the channeling ceremonies where like you'll have like a little girl will portray an old black man because that's the spirit that she's channeling at that time, which is hilarious to me, regardless of whether there's something going on interestingly, psychologically or spiritually that we'll only know about 100 years from now. It is still hilarious, the image of the channeling of this is a more refined archetype than old black man. This is specifically the Uncle Ruckus subset. Oh my god. And which was also featured in that Quentin Tarantino movie. What was that called?
Django?
Django. Right. They had it was played by Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Sure.
It was like almost literally Uncle Ruckus. Like the character seemed almost
just looking at some videos here.
Very Christian. Like a conservative Christian.
This guy's interviewed Weave.
And he calls
he
calls people who aren't conservatives beta males. Like consistently.
Yeah, I'm looking at the videos here. Just Jesse Lee Peterson destroys liberal beta male.
Yep. Andrew
Are You a Real Man featuring Jesse Lee Peterson.
Oh boy.
Jesse Lee Peterson at the slut walk best moment.
Holy shit.
N-word isn't racist.
He has his own Wikipedia page.
Rape babies should be raised by the rapist.
He has a very popular YouTube show.
Wait a minute.
What did he say? Wait, what? Read that one again.
Yeah, read the last one again.
Babies should be raised by the rapist.
Oh, what?
That's like taking the shotgun wedding concepts way like
the fruit.
Step back 2,000 or 3,000 years into another time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh lordy.
All right, next candidate.
Oh yeah, okay. Or I suppose like Romania like 50 years ago. That would also be. Yeah, but okay, so John Hickenlooper launched his campaign.
His last name sounds like a breakfast cereal, dude.
Hickenlooper. Yeah, I can see it. Or some sort of whimsical time traveling device from like a steampunk thing.
To the Hickenlooper.
The what? To the Hickenlooper. Oh my god. We've got to keep shoveling coal into the Hickenlooper to get it to get up to 60 miles an hour Why does he want to run? Hickenlooper brands himself as an effective manager and deal maker who has governed effectively in a purple state while still staying progressive. He said he thinks the Democratic field could be too focused on grievance and not enough on policy. I feel like they all have a little undercurrent of that, or they are one of those grievance things. That's their platform, like the Gillibrand. It's either they're like, no, I think that we're all a bit too divisive, or they're like, I am a divisive candidate. And it seems like nobody's just not mentioning this at all, or not addressing it.
It's hard to ignore, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at his political positions. Cannabis legalization. I mean, he was mayor of Denver.
That would do it.
I thought he was governor.
Mayor of Denver, geologist. He's a geologist and brewery owner.
Oh, cool.
Yep, the Wingcoop Brewing Company. Very well.
The Hickenlooper.
For gun control. Let's see. Against the death penalty.
Yeah. I'm not. Those aren't deal breakers, but what?
I don't think he's for Medicare for all, or is he?
Well, let me see.
I'm seeing. Oh, sorry, I moved on.
I'm just on the Wikipedia page. It doesn't say anything specifically about that.
He might be too business friendly. And just plain friendly, they're saying, to succeed in this primary.
Doesn't seem like a winner's name.
Yeah, Hickenlooper.
Yeah. President Hickenlooper, that's...
But I don't know, there's a man named Bado Judge.
Yeah, but so, like weird. We'll get to him.
Oh, yeah.
But Hickenlooper is like... He's just okay, I feel like. Nothing stands out.
Bernie
nothing really interesting. Like, he'd be a fine governor or mayor or whatever, but like, I would be kind of bored if it's like Hickenlooper versus Trump. That'd be fucking terrible.
that would be shit
pretty
show.
awful. Like, at least if it's Bernie versus Trump, it'd be like two incoherent old dudes yelling at each other on stage.
Oh, he was a Quaker for a while.
Whoa, really?
Quaker? What?
That's why he's just too friendly. That's
definitely a Boy Scout.
Plausible. Have I mentioned when I went to visit my Mormon relatives, I mentioned I was a Boy Scout. This was like I must have been like 13 or 14. I mentioned I was a Boy Scout, and their kids, of which they had like 7, but one of their kids said, "Oh, he's Mormon? I thought you said he wasn't Mormon." Like, they were so, the connection between the Boy Scouts of America and the Mormon Church is so they're so adjacent in certain parts of the country that you just assume it's the youth group for the Mormons is the Boy Scouts. And then in other parts of the country, obviously it's not. Although when I got my Eagle Court of Honor, it was at the LDS Church. I didn't even know there was an LDS Church in New Hampshire. So yeah, there's like a whole Masonic little thing going on. Cute. Why did I get on that? Oh, because someone mentioned the Boy Scouts. Oh, you mentioned he's a Boy Scout. Was he a Boy Scout?
I don't know that he actually is a Boy Scout, but he looks like he was.
Yeah. Oh, here's a little bit of trivia. Hickenlooper appears in Kurt Vonnegut's novel Timequake.
What? The person? Wait, Hickenlooper. It's not this actual man was written into the story. A character with that name. I understand.
No. I mean, it seems to be him.
Oh, it's a direct reference to this actual mayor.
Yeah.
No way. Kurt Vonnegut was writing in the 60s.
This guy's like old. Yeah. It's possible.
Published 97.
1997?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wait, this book was from 1997.
Kurt Vonnegut? Yeah, wasn't he? He was still alive.
Yeah.
That lecture that he did by
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you're right. He was also writing, I think, in the 60s. Yeah. It was just I think of him as before our time, but he died. It's like Douglas Adams. He died relatively. Freddie Mercury died like right after I was born.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
So what did you say about Hickenlooper? What did
What?
I'm curious.
That's an interesting thing to.
Fucking random. Like
That might win him the presidency.
Appears. Hold on. I gotta.
I love how I said it was a name that sounded like a steampunk time traveler, and then it turns out, quite possibly, we're about to find out is a time related. Seems like a very interesting.
Not too good, folks.
Oh boy, this guy is a time traveler, but it's from fiction. He travels backwards in time into the real world where he was fictional past in that real world.
Non-fiction multiverse.
Yes. Yeah.
Quantum.
It's that.
Quantum.
Something with the consciousness and the quantum consciousness. Quant.
He just shows up mentioned as the owner of the Wynkoop Brewing Company.
In the book.
In the book.
That is beautiful. All right.
I'm
assuming Colorado, right? So I'm assuming.
Yeah. This book is apparently semi-autobiographical, so.
That would explain it.
Might have known Hickenlooper. Let's see. I told the young John Hickenlooper a joke his dad taught me. It worked like this. His dad would say to me, no matter where you are you a member of the Turtle Club? I had no choice but to bellow at the top of my lungs, you bet your ass I am.
Beautiful. Art.
Okay.
The Turtle Club, of course. It's it's a Crisco cult where they're all, they're greasing each other up and taking over the world. All right, next up, Jay Inslee, second-term governor of Washington and previously in the U.S. House.
I don't know who that is.
He's running on climate change. That's his biggest issue.
It's cool.
What's his name again?
Jayinnslee.
Got it. Governor of Washington.
How many are there, by the way?
A lot. We're about a quarter of the way down. If that. Actually, some of these are smaller blurbs, so maybe not even a quarter. Oh my God.
I wonder if we're gonna have like something like the.
Why does Julian Castro did something happen to him?
A pedophile, dude.
What?
Julian Castro is just. He looks like he fucks kids.
Your words, not mine.
He really does, dude.
He looks like something is seriously wrong, but I feel really bad if I find out that he's had surgery on his face or something, and that's why I'm. What is wrong with?
That's true.
I don't know.
No, dude. I think he just fucks kids for a living.
Okay. I don't want to just accuse someone for looking weird, but what is up with his face?
His face is fucking uncomfortable. Like,
all right, I need to scroll away.
Okay, I had no idea who this guy was.
Oh,
but yeah,
Julian Castro or Jay Inslee?
Yeah, look up Julian Castro.
Wait, there are two of them?
Oh no, okay, so I'm sorry. I'm on Jay Inslee. And then I was scrolling because you were looking up Jay Inslee and I couldn't I'm ADD. And so I got to Julian Castro and then I stopped.
He's a twin.
Oh, is that why he's so weird looking? Does that make you look?
What is that? What I don't get it.
It's like
I don't know.
It's like an old Sicilian woman. No. I
don't know. Like, what is?
He's making everyone else look really attractive, though. They all look great. Wow. Bernie, I love Bernie's relatively symmetrical face, and sure his hair's sticking up, but
He isn't even necessarily unattractive. He's just creepy.
Julian Castro. That's interesting. You would
You know what I mean? Like
I guess he looks like someone, a thin murderer skinned an obese child and then wore their skin or something. Oh my God. What is up with this guy?
what? Oh my God.
All right. I feel really bad though. I can't. It's just making fun of his face. I mean, all right.
But he sucks.
There's a lot of other things a man can do with his life. I don't know why this guy's in politics.
I'm not like I'll probably end up supporting Bernie out of everybody unless somebody else comes. I'm not crazy about Bernie. But
are you said you're not a citizen, or are you?
I'm not. I'm
Okay.
applying soon though.
But you have green card. Yes.
Hopefully I can actually vote in the next election. That'd be pretty dope.
That would be in a little over a year and a half. Is that
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
So you'll
I
be
can
able to.
apply. Yeah, I should be able to.
And is that because you'll be a citizen by then, or you'll be able to vote by then?
I'll be a citizen. And
Awesome.
If you're a citizen, you can vote.
Yep, unless you're a felon.
Yeah.
You got to become a citizen and not commit any serious felonies between now and then. Or there's probably other ways you can lose the right to vote. I guess, yeah, or commit voter fraud. That would also take away your right to vote. Although that's also a felony, so it all fits in the same. Okay, Jay Inslee. I don't really care about Jay Inslee.
His father was a well-known high school counselor and football coach.
Oh. This is Jay Inslee, this guy?
Yeah, and his dad was an athletic director. That's interesting. Honor roll student, star athlete in 1969, Jay Inslee.
That was a good year. A lot of wild stuff happened that year. Oh yeah.
He went to Stanford, but he didn't have enough money, so he dropped out.
Oh, that sucks.
Then he went to University of Washington and got his BA in economics in 1973. And then he got a degree in 76. That's it. Pretty standard. Plus, he's white, and I don't like white people.
Yes.
So.
Right. Bernie though. Bernie's not white by your definition, right?
No. He's a JOO. They're cool.
The Who people. He's a Whovian. All right, so Bernie Sanders is next. Here we go. If you didn't know, the Vermont senator and self-described Democratic socialist before his runner-up finish in the 2016 Democratic primary, you do now. Is he running? Yes. He announced plans to run on February 19th. Why does he want to run? For the same reasons he wanted to run in 2016, and the same reason.
To turn America into communist China.
Sorry, what about communist China?
Why does he want to run? The same reason he wanted to run last time, to turn America into communist hellhole.
Yes, right. To just blanket us in.
To give your mother transgender surgery.
Right. As long as you have the child's permission, they can force the mother to transition. That's the new. Elizabeth Warren or Tulsi Gabbard. Many of the people who supported him last time, plus a few converts. Oh, these are who wants him to run. Okay. Sanders adjacent candidates like Elizabeth Warren or Tulsi Gabbard.
Elizabeth Warren fucked up, huh? She probably could have won last time.
Do you think?
But she didn't run because she thought Hillary had it in the bag. And then why would she not run last time but run this time? That makes absolutely no sense.
Well, because of the what you just said. That'd be fine, right?
She didn't want to fuck with the head queen bee.
and now that it's weird, that queen bee is like just kind of old and mottled and not doing anything, and so now the whole thing is running around with a head chopped off. Like there was this mafia that was at the top.
Like and every time she makes a comment, it's just super cringe-worthy. Like she is such a cringe lord. It's unbelievable.
You're talking about Warren.
No, we're talking about
Hillary.
Hillary.
Yeah, Hillary. Now we're talking about Hillary. Sorry, we've
Warren
gone from
was
Bernie
President
Sanders, and then Elizabeth Warren was a related candidate, and then I mentioned Elizabeth Warren. We're still on Bernie, but I mentioned Elizabeth Warren as someone supporting who wants Bernie to run.
Bernie tried to get Elizabeth Warren to run in 2015, and she refused, so he ran. And then now he's like, "Oh, Hillary's not in the game. I'm gonna run." People are like, "We're not gonna say no to. We're not gonna like not support Bernie to support you."
Yeah,
because like he did it when he didn't know like whether it was gonna work out or not, or didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
and then it's weird how immediately set up for that whole Pocahontas thing. She just walked into it.
Yeah.
And she took a DNA test.
Oh.
She was like less than 1% Native American. She was like, "See, I'm Native American." And it's just like, yo, what the fuck?
Proves I am oppressed.
Like what?
Let my people go.
Use that to get into Harvard Law School.
I saw that like
legitimately unethical.
Yep.
I mean, like, you know.
And I saw that like her drinking a beer video.
Oh boy.
Which was pretty embarrassing.
I didn't.
I haven't seen this. Do I want to look this up?
Oh, it's just her trying to be down home. Like
I can get it.
Like
I forget it.
As much as Elizabeth Warren has things I disagree with her on, she's still like a pretty impactful U.S. senator who like got a lot of things done, right? I mean, she passed all of the consumer finance protection laws after the 2009 financial crisis, where like banks couldn't just be like, "Oh, do you want some sort of stupid protection that they don't have any infrastructure in to give you protection? You just like pay them extra money and shit like that." Like banks just like So like Elizabeth Warren did a lot of really great stuff, understanding how like basically there's like good capitalism, which is Apple, Google, on the way up, but then you like get entrenched.
Oh yeah,
structures, and she like a lot of what she ran on was like breaking those up. She actually used to be a Republican, but thought like markets weren't. Yeah, but thought like Republicans weren't doing enough to make sure like markets could actually like benefit people. So she's actually a pretty great senator. It just sucks that she didn't, because I think if she ran in in the last election, she probably would have won.
Yeah, she might have. And there was that. Well, she got shot, right? That there was that.
She got what?
Is that the same? Are we talking about the same candidate? Shot? S-H-O-T?
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren.
Holy crap!
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, how did I miss that?
No. Well,
I'm just thinking of the baseball. Are you thinking of the Democrat? Someone shot a Democratic politician at a baseball. Or am I thinking of the same thing?
No. I just think Elizabeth Warren could have beaten Hillary because a lot of the women who like might have voted for Bernie otherwise were like
Gabby Giffords.
Oh, okay, that's it.
But people who like just wanted a woman to be president and couldn't go with Bernie for that reason, they probably would have gone.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Oh, she was at a Safeway supermarket. Okay.
So stupid.
Hey. Got her in the head.
I mean, yeah. The feminist case for Hillary was ridiculous, and
it's disgusting.
Yeah. Just. Oh God.
And the worst is like, the worst is like when dudes got emotional arguing the feminist case for Hillary. That I just like could not wrap my head around. Just like.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume it was the. Can I have some crumbs of pussy, please? That's usually how that. I mean, some of this is from personal experience. Some of this is just from observing. It's
not gonna snoop business.
Yeah.
That's around when I quit Facebook because oh God. everyone got so stupid. And like, you know, I have very educated friends. Like, I went to an Ivy League. Like, these are intelligent people,
and they're all still
so dumb.
That's like the descriptions of Soviet Russia towards like in the 80s. So, you know, like when it was clearly over to a certain stratum of society, like it had become completely corrupt all the way through. And it was sort of obvious that there was not anyone home, kind of at the.
Yeah.
Supposedly that propagates down where everybody's lying to everybody, and you're all just kind of like supporting the big lie, which eventually that has to be obvious to everyone, and then it hopefully bursts. But it's like, I
mean, I hope, because
I
mean, I broke off Facebook. Really, it was after the James Damore thing. Because it's.
Was that pre-election or post? That was post, right?
I think it was post.
Post, yeah, a little bit after. 2017 was kind of an insane year, but 2016 had been so bad that nobody noticed. They were just glad that was over.
Oh, dude. So
July 2017, just for
who's the next candidate?
Okay. Oh yeah. So I just I looked up a relatable New Year's beer with Elizabeth Warren. Cringe.
Yeah, that's the one.
And it's got many downvotes, and it looks bad. So I'm gonna skip it. Bernie Sanders. Oh, we already went over Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Okay. Amy
Cloud Boot Jar.
Klobuchar.
Her name's Klobuchar.
Klobuchar. I wouldn't have said Klobuchar, but you. All right. Amy Klobuchar.
She like had a hard time finding people to work for her campaign because she was such a bitch to everybody who worked.
Well,
oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then they asked her about it. She was just like, "Well, you know, I just have such high expectations for myself and other people."
Honestly, I can relate. That's in no way a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Like,
the people
be an asshole. If it can make you win, be an asshole. I don't care.
No, there's not. I don't know. There's like that, and then there's like throwing stuff at people in an office.
or yeah, I guess there was that.
Or she like got her interns to like walk into people's offices and tell the people that they were stupid. So like, that's not just like being a vindictive bitch.
I guess.
Like, yeah. So like, you know.
Klobuchar. Who wants her to win? She'd probably build a constituency among mainstream Democrats. Her exchange with Justice Brett Kavanaugh during his confirmation hearing won her a lot of fans. So, I mean, I guess maybe that's why she's known. Well, if you're gonna get someone to like attack Kavanaugh, you get like the office bitch. Maybe would be the.
Yeah, I guess
that makes sense. But something her logo.
No, dude, like whatever. I don't know. They asked her like what she thought should be done about like the student debt crisis in America, where like students owe more than $1 trillion combined.
Yep.
And she was like, "Well, we should create tax-free accounts so people can save for college."
So,
like,
is the idea that the people that would have started those accounts early on? Oh, yeah. Does she mean forced, like started up for everyone?
Like you can, like your parents can start like a tax-free savings account.
So your parents would have to opt in early on.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
I mean, but you know,
ultimately, what that
problem is more like not having money to pay for $50,000 a year tuition.
Yeah, and also by the time your kids are all grown up, will that account have even, because it's growing faster, the tuition costs are growing faster than.
It's clearly like a horrible idea.
Yeah,
but she's like one of those people who are like, oh well, I am pragmatic what I'm suggesting is a middle of the road. Like
sometimes the middle ground is a terrible, terrible decision. It's bad for everyone.
Actually, in government, it quite often is because like markets and bureaucracies actually like the incentives are just always corrupt.
Yeah. And so
Right.
straightforward for the other.
By the way, I'd like to talk a little bit about education in Brazil later because
we can do that.
Some of this, it's like whatever it's like what's bad in the U.S. times 100.
Dude, I'll talk about education in Liberia.
Oh, let's please like
that'll put in perspective. Like
like layering of corruption.
Oh, I mean, it'll be a competition because it's bad.
It's so bad. Like, but yeah, I think a lot of times these politicians, like, I don't know if they're stupid or if like they just think like if I just look as if I'm responsible, I'm actually being responsible.
I think it's that second one, although many of them I think are doing it on an unconscious level because it's really that the people through the media apparatus are pretty stupid. And so the politician is appealing to those levers. That's the impression I get. And a lot of them seem to just be like winging it and it's still working. So they have some intuition of what looks good on the camera and what sounds good on when you just put it in a blurb. That's the impression I get. Because so many of these ideas are like, they're not even half thought out. They aren't really an idea that you could put into a law like and fully hash out, and that's your new healthcare plan. But it does.
I mean, there's a weird thing that where like, everyone's responding to the narrative, even people who could look at things on the object level is still responding to the narrative and talking about the narrative, like, and still valuing that above like concrete policy or even like just reasonable policy discussions, like regular people who might like who could be talking about policy or talking about whether the platform is would appeal to a lot of people, would is winnable on that platform, like how can I put this?
The sole indicator now of what
like we live on the level of the narrative.
Yep.
Even people who might
have some stake in it or have some stake in the object level reality or might have something to add.
Or at least the ability to analyze things on the object level.
Right. Which I wonder if that's a strong sign that we're all becoming aware of the fact that we've decoupled from the actual democratic process somewhat. Like the actual, the individual's power in this instance has been reduced so much that now it's all a signaling game because that's the only thing that you're gaining or losing by talking about the topics. Yeah. Which is horrifying.
Yep. That's rough.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Elizabeth Warren is next. I guess we talked about her already a little bit, but from good old Massachusetts, I voted for her.
I like Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. People who back
Elizabeth Warren. Democrats' message must be more than not Trump.
She's got a good doggo. Aww.
I wonder if the Democratic primaries are going to be like the 2012 Republican primaries.
They're going to be like the 2015, 2016 Republican primaries. But it's going to be a little bit different because there's so many people that they're going to have two debates. But they're doing like, instead of doing like a senior JV type thing, they're doing just like randomized people get to be on the debate stage. So everybody gets a fair shake. But there's like 20-something candidates.
Yeah.
Shit.
Intense.
Well, and they're going up against an incumbent, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the deal?
Kamala Harris is next.
Yeah. So what do you think about Kamala Harris?
She seems to think that a woman of color who is an ex-prosecutor will check a range of boxes for Democratic voters. Not wrong.
Like, okay, but who are these Democratic voters that are like, well, she's a black woman, so I said, like, I don't understand who these people are.
I mean, that's kind of the thing that I was talking about. That you know, where it's all on the narrative level, like people who should be talking about her policies, her proposals, are talking about her appeal to this hypothetical Democratic voter.
But that does go all the way back to the country's founding. The fact that the president was both the literal seat of power and held the seat of power or whatever, and he's the figurehead at the same time.
Yeah,
it's always led to ridiculous people being the president, but like weird hunter people who are, you know, I killed a bear and now I'm going to give a speech, and they're like those just whimsical types, and it's kind of however you rein all that in or whatever. I just think now maybe, and it might be Trump's fault, maybe it's like he scared all the deep state into like taking away the final last bits of the president's power, but it seems possible that now we're just arguing over the figurehead position, which is still...
I mean, the last psychiatrist I linked something the other day said something about Obama being a celebrity candidate back in the 2008 election, but it also happened that Obama was an establishment candidate. Like he was also vetted by the Democrats and was very much embedded in that. But
Clinton too, and then going all the way. I mean, Lincoln was, and I know they're not Democrat, but like the meme president is a thing, right? It's always been an ancient practice, right?
Sure.
Like Lincoln was like little soundbite blurbs that make it onto the papers, right? When that was, so like we had trains and telegraphs, and he was Uggo, like never would have won nowadays. Fucking weird looking dude. He had like a disorder. Abraham Lincoln, they thought he had Marfan syndrome. Half his head was actually smaller than the other half, so he had an incredibly asymmetrical face that was really ugly. But if you look at like the death cast mask thing of him, you can see it. But it didn't matter because there were no like photographs. What would you have, like an etching that would be in the paper? No, nobody saw what you looked like. And so the things that people were reading were just the words. And he was surprisingly good at him, and then people around him were surprisingly good at the blurbs that would get captured by the local press during a speech and then make it into a paper. That was the real elegant poetic stuff that I would assume that really helped. But then you kind of, there has to be a meme part, is my point, that like an Obama part of it was like, holy shit, we didn't think we'd get a black guy for another like 15 or 20 years. This gonna happen now? Wow.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
And there was stuff like the Yes We Can speech, which Will.i.am made that like,
Yeah.
I remember people just like listening to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
To get pumped up and stuff.
People were using the Yes We Can speech to sell satellites in Korea.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That shit was, dude, Obama's campaign was fucking unreal.
Yeah.
So well done.
If you watch, did either of you guys see the show House? Yeah. So when that was airing, they had an episode, like they had multiple episodes that seemed like they were leading into the Obama archetype. Like they had a whole season arc where like a businessman comes in, but it's like House has to deal with, what if the strong black businessman shows up and is now your boss for a whole year?
Yeah, I remember that.
And then it was like,
was it Chi McBride, I think?
What?
Was it Chi McBride, the actor?
Oh, I don't remember the name.
I know the president in 24 was like the precursor of Obama.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was mimetically, it was in our media for years.
I mean, you had what's his face in Deep Impact, Morgan Freeman as the black president.
Yeah.
It is
way before that.
It's I can understand why so many people before Obama thought that would be the post-racializing moment. Like that would be the thing in America that would be the sign that, oh, we're all over this now, right?
Yeah. I don't think they anticipated the Republicans going completely batshit. Yeah. And then the left going even more batshit. Or just
in response to the batshit. Yeah. It was I think part of the problem that I think is, it's almost like the 9/11 narrative, where like if you looked into like what Osama bin Laden was actually mad about, is the stuff in the South Park episode that came out afterwards, like building, military bases on Muslim holy lands and all these, the State of Israel stuff, and like none of that made it into the narrative, and they hate our freedom. And in a kind of a weird way, it's like if you're going for Team America, then not listening to the other guy. I'm not saying this is good what happened, but not actually like he was Osama bin Laden was unsuccessful. Americans were not awakened to the machine that runs their country. Yeah, I mean, so is that true? I honestly, a lot of this stuff, it's like 3 layers down narrative, and he's actually just getting funded by oil interest stuff that actually, it's not politics. It's just, but if you need a narrative to like, we're freedom fighters, that's why we murdered thousands of people. If you need that narrative to give at I mean, it's like, it's never about what it's about, like, so then it's almost like if you fall for the explicit what it's about part, you're kind of, you're falling for it. You're a little bit in the web of whatever, narrative the other side is trying to craft. You. It's very weird, like meme warfare stuff. Because it's tough, because right? There's something
you gotta be kind of a conspiracy theorist. There's no other way, I guess.
But I guess the reason I brought up the Osama bin Laden thing was just because with Obama's like surface level, it's like I guess Mott and Bailey somewhat, but the internally we droned more than we'd ever droned before under Obama. We droned which is just that curve. We just had the technology. It's not like the point was he just kept it going, like same, nothing changed. We just, however much
would you not use drones if you were president?
It's a tough question.
I certainly use drones, but there was like elements of expansion of executive power under Obama, where it's not the use of the drones, but like the acceptable targets.
Right. And use of drones, because you end up, it's kind of like in healthcare, where you end up with, the better your technology gets, you enter a new realm with each new technology. Now you're out in the, we have like a gamma knife or something that costs bajillions of dollars, but you can use it to do something crazy, but it's actually not well honed technology at the level that it operates at. So in the same way, we get smart bombs, but they are still bombs, which are a very recent technology. I mean, relatively recent technology, the kind that we use. And so ultimately, there's no way to set a bomb off where you'll kill everything within a 10-foot blast radius, and you won't risk everything within a 100-foot blast radius. And so
it's not exactly precision.
There's no, even though we wouldn't have had it, like, it is insane, alien, new, crazy technology. We can put that in the butthole of a moose, or from all the way from, and we can land.
I wonder why they don't have like sniper drones, or do they? I don't know. They should.
They're coming. Yeah,
I'm sure they are, but
swarm drones.
What?
Swarm drones.
They have those. Yeah. It's really, at this point, there aren't a lot of conflicts where right now in the world where they would be very useful. They would be, and it would be, there has to be that initial hump of the horror that the world will be made aware of when that first starts getting used. I mean, it's just so beyond, like, it's like, you know, bad enough the idea of, you know, cowering in a basement while your neighborhood is getting bombed from above because of some weird politics thousands of miles away. But the idea that you're now going to get hunted down by little bullet drones that are going to...
I mean, that episode of Black Mirror, I think, was incredible. And
that was really good.
Yeah, and in terms of really, like, showing what that could look like. And I think it's pretty realistic in that sense. Like,
Yep. What do you think... I mean, this is a little off topic now. We were on the candidates, but, like, what defenses... maybe it's going to be like guns, where they'll just be places where there are none of those things, no drones allowed in this zone. And so then you'll feel safe in those places. But, like, once you step outside of that, unless we have some really, which we'll probably be getting, some really advanced proximity sensor type stuff. I mean, I can even, like they're using right now, they have a bunch of tech for, like, building on the quantum radar stuff, but this is actually using gravity. It's a gravitational sensor for submarines, because EM you can block. You can you know, if there's enough material in the way, you can make the signal below the noise floor or whatever. But gravity will go through anything. It's just a really subtle signal.
Sure.
And so they're using some of the same tech that they use to, like, map the ocean floor using gravity and stuff. Or there's some, it's like density plots of the Earth and stuff. So like whenever NASA launches a new, it can sense the, you know, the cosmic microwave background radiation and see the, you know, there's a reason that we're funding, you know, multi-$100 million or multi-billion-dollar, in some cases, projects like that. And it's not necessarily just because we want to know the deep secrets of the universe.
Yeah.
It's partly we want to detect submarines, because China can just plop one, like, you know, in a random harbor in America. It's kind of actually freaky how submarines are, how you could just get someone. It's like, geopolitically, it's so not okay to just have a whole military thing right there, but they can't detect it. And so it's this, but anyway, so, all right, sidetrack there. But, okay, we're still on Kamala Harris. We want to stay on her, or?
I don't know.
I mean, what I know about her is just that this whole thing about how she was a prosecutor and kind of did some fucked up shit with, like, you know, that the way prosecutors do in terms of, you know,
and not prosecuting, not like releasing information about pedophile priests and shit like that.
Or about in the Southern District of Florida, where who's the Acosta? Is he the guy who's getting grilled right now? Ooh, Acosta's getting grilled.
I'm not sure.
Oh, so this is the guy who gave Epstein the 13-month sentence that was turned.
Oh yeah, I read about that actually.
Yeah, and that's why Epstein's in the news again. You know, not for, you know, running a international politician blackmail thing. He totally masterminded on his own by himself, definitely. But that's not why he's in the. And
this is, I understand, Mike Cernovich is sort of leading. Some legal challenge to.
What, Cernovich is going after Epstein? That's amazing.
Yes, that's literally what's going on. Yeah, and
that's pretty amazing.
Cernovich, I got him this time. The Miami Herald. He's amazing. More power to him. He helped Aaron.
Oh yeah.
Right when the whole Gamergate thing happened, Cernovich reached out to Aaron and like I think he just gave him legal advice or something like that, but it was like when all this shit was going down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sick. He's a lawyer. I forgot about that. What?
I'm sorry. That's just that is totally the sort of thing you would forget about with Mike Cernovich.
Right. Like,
wait a minute, dude.
a lawyer?
You're a lawyer. Wow. And I feel like the next line would be him going, wait a minute, I am the lawyer.
Yeah.
Holy thick guy.
It is nice to be able to do shit like that. Like, oh, I could just like take this case to court if I want.
Yeah. Pro bono. And then
Yeah.
Cartman's like, Kyle, you did this just to get a fucking boner? You fucking loser.
All right, next candidate.
Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, duh.
Judge them booties.
I'm so confused by Buttigieg.
Is it really pronounced booty judge?
No, it's Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right then. But it's like Uranus, where it's bad both ways. Booty and buddy, but it's B-U-T-T. He's like, they're not even hiding it. Wait. 37-year-old openly gay mayor. Wait a minute.
Let's see.
Gay and his name is Booty Judge.
It's Buttigieg.
Just looking at the IPA here on Wikipedia, Buttigieg.
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 No, it's
Buttigieg.
I'm pretty sure it's Buttigieg. Buttigieg. It's
Fight.
not-
Could
Although
be-
people mispronounce names all the
I
time.
like Buttigieg. I'm gonna go with Buttigieg.
Yeah, all I know about him is that he wasn't. People were saying he's not gay enough to be a.
Oh, the
to
name
be intersectional enough to
You
be.
have to
a candidate.
hypothetically suck dick. You have to suck dick on camera.
It's gotta be.
You know.
You gotta be super mega gay. Oh boy. It's like on his platform, like number 7, the bullet point. I will suck
I
a dick
don't know,
on
like-
camera.
I don't know. It's weird because it's like we're supposed to follow this guy because he like went to Harvard, was a consultant for McKinsey, and was a Rhodes Scholar, and then was a soldier in Afghanistan before the country. So like these are all like great accomplishments or whatever, but it's like, first of all, it's not necessarily like building something on your own. It's more like just like climbing a bunch of different like established hierarchies.
Yeah.
But also, like, that doesn't say that much about ideology. It just says a lot about your ability to, like, process information fast. Right?
Yeah,
So,
it says they grabbed attention for crisp answers in an almost
Yeah, so
Obama-esque
it's like-
demeanor.
it's like this dude's, like, 37. He says, like, I don't want to be too specific with my policies. I want to lay out my values. And then you can trust me based on those values to implement the right policies, which is like, so it's like, trust me, I'm smart,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like
I-
and like the
I
NPR,
feel like Andrew Yang would do better with that as his platform.
and the NPR crowd loves it. But he's
Well,
not,
yeah, because they're like ultimately they're technocrats. Like that's the
Yeah.
that sort of contingent of the American left is like 100%. It's what's it? I didn't even watch it, but the Designated Survivor, that show.
Oh, you mean the show Survivor?
Designated Survivor.
Oh no, then I don't know what that is.
Never mind. But the idea of the sort of, the liberal technocrat just like coming in and doing all the common sense liberal technocratic things.
Is the Designated Survivor?
This is not a bad thing. Go ahead.
It's someone on the presidential line of succession that's sequestered when they move everyone. Yeah. And then is the idea? Let me just extrapolate the plot for this. So that happens. Everyone gets nuked. Who's the main? And then someone who's sequestered was a really good president or something. Is that?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That happened in Battlestar Galactica too. It's a theme. It goes back to
sure.
I
I remember that. She was the education. Was he the education secretary?
Oh,
Because she was in Battlestar Galactica.
yeah. But that theme goes back to the Roman Republic, I think. And now I'm kind of talking out of my ass. But I have a friend who talks about history a lot, and that story, I've heard that one twice. I think I was a little intoxicated.
Oh no, sorry. He in Designated Survivor, he was Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Oh, well, there's another one where it's like it'll be a practical and also human job. But yeah.
Hold on, just a sec. I think it.
Yep. Edwin, were you going to say something just a second ago?
No, I was just saying, like,
See if this is better. Not very much.
common sense liberal reforms are actually extremely valuable. It's just like,
Yep.
I don't think it's the right historical moment.
Nope.
That's
Right now, everybody's going, still. And we've been doing it for 2.5 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've been doing this since 2008, really.
That's a good point. Although I personally, the screaming probably really did start around 2008, but I wasn't self-aware of any of it until after college. It took all the way through college, and that was when I was like, everybody's lying about everything.
After college is what for you, 2013?
Yeah, that was when, I graduated.
Yeah, so, and then, like, you stepped into it, and that was exactly what it was. Right?
Yep, and then Gamergate happened.
Right.
Yeah, it was around that time for me too.
Yeah.
It's also kind of the stage in life you're entering parental age, where you have to like care about things other than your own development, and then you're like, all these things are going wrong, and now I care about them. What? Yeah.
But Buttigieg is, I don't know. I feel like the women on TV just love him. Have you guys noticed that, or have you noticed that?
There's a rhyming term for them, right?
It seems like like when women are interviewing him, they're like always stunned by him. And I don't know. I just hate it when people suck off politicians that much.
Well, but if it's women sucking off this particular politician, that's kind of impressive. He's wooing.
It's just like, okay, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and it's kind of something where in politics, maybe, how do I put this? I don't know how to put
remember that song in the Boondocks that was like, Dick riding, Obama, Obama. Yeah, that's exactly what that is, dude. It's just like, okay, it's cool, like, he's done some cool shit, but like, you know,
Dick ride that booty.
I'm just like pull it out right here, like, you know. Like,
fell short in the 2017 campaign for Democratic National Committee chair. Oh, no nominated since New York's DeWitt Clinton in 1812. Wait, really? We've never had a mayor nominated for president.
Never had what?
We have not had a mayor nominated for president since New York's DeWitt Clinton in 1812. Oh, the Clintons. They go way back. The Clintons and then the Blythes.
I just don't think I mean, I don't know. I guess if it came down to like Biden, Sanders, and Buttigieg, some people might want to go with Buttigieg.
Why would they not like? Who doesn't like old Bernie?
He's going to be 78.
Guns.
Oh no, he's going to be 79 when he takes power.
We're gonna break up the banks.
Like what? I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy how old some of these people are, and it's a testament to modern medicine.
Yeah.
They're just still going and on terrible diets sometimes too. Trump is
okay. So next candidate.
All right. It's our favorite candidate, Julian Castro.
Oh,
the kid who looks like a pedophile. I mean, he might be like a burn victim, and I shouldn't.
I don't think he's a burn victim, dude. I think he just fucks.
Well, I saw a picture of him with his twin brother, and unless they both are burn victims in
Oh my God, you're
exactly the same way, I think
they're like reverse symmetrically fucked up. That's okay. Yeah, they're both really weird looking. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
That's just like I made fun of Dan Ariely on the.
It's who's that Coen's actor? Who's famous for all the other things. He was in Home Alone. He was one of the criminals, I think. It was what's his name? He's got an Italian name. He's apparently an incredibly sweet guy in person, but he's just so weird looking.
He was one of the crooks in Home Alone.
Steve Buscemi. It's Steve Buscemi. Yeah, he wasn't a crook in Home Alone. Oh, anyway, whatever. You're right. He was not. He looks like he could have been, but I'm thinking of that other guy who had the frizzy hair. Anyway, but you're absolutely right. He wasn't a crook in Home Alone. You're thinking of Joe Pesci, maybe? Wait, who? On Home Alone, Joe Pesci? No, the other guy would have been but although he's Italian, so actually, but he's not skinny enough to really have the overlap. I don't know why I thought he was a crook in Home Alone. I threw everyone off with that little hint, but anyway, he plays a crook sometimes. Oh, Fargo! He was one of the two criminals in Fargo, right? He was like the little one who's like, and then the German. Although it doesn't actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
sure.
So, that threw me out. It's like adult Home Alone, Fargo, whatever. So there's the parents aren't coming home. You've got to solve this for yourself. All right. So that actor's face is equally as disturbing as Julian Castro's. Although I'm much more, I feel like Julian Castro could have made a character actor where if he was a really great actor, it would be one of those things where this is the really sketchy, weird, freaky, creepy, womanly looking guy, but he's actually, he's witty or something. Like there's some other quirks about his character. But instead, I just see his face, and I'm like, how did he ever become a politician? I don't know.
He looks so oily.
Is he in a cult? Because that seems like how this could happen.
You see the thing he said about Bernie?
Oh, boy.
He was like, he's willing to open up his checkbook for everything except for reparations. Why is that? So he was accusing Bernie of being racist for not being pro-reparations.
African-American legacy of ruling out. Wait, he isn't ruling out direct payments for African-Americans for the legacy of slavery. But you're saying that he specifically got mad at Bernie over it? Bernie?
Yeah, he was like, why does Bernie open the checkbook for everything else? But when it comes to reparations, he's like, I don't want to just pay black people. See, because of slavery, Paul, you should give me money.
I got to pay you.
You should pay me for that shit. Like, that's your fault, bitch.
I got to send you $50 a month. Make up for the horrifying history of slavery. And then if you go back further, you could be you got to get for the Moorish invasions of Iberia. I think that you and me. And Brazil, let's not even get started on Brazil.
You know the fucked up thing about it is like if it's not too fucked up, then you can have reparations. But if it's like multi-generational fucked up, then it's just like, what's the fucking point?
It freaked me out about democracy because democracy's my team, right? But it's fucked up because it's like it limits the subset of possibilities, but it cuts out all these really awful ones. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But it substantially limits because, for example, if like you're saying, if you wanted to offer like actual, like we're going to try to quantify how much your life is offset now by that particular legacy that we now ethically deem as a horror show. And we're going to sit and figure out a number, and then we're all going to maybe vote on it. That would be democracy. Or I'm just going to decide it because I'm supreme emperor or something like that. And then it's going to get implemented, and then it's all going to be over in a generation. And then we're all going to move on. That just isn't democratically available, I think, because you build it you'd vote a system into being, and then it would be some big apparatus, and then it would continue itself. It would keep getting.
It also doesn't like address the fundamental class issues that are really like at the core. Like slavery was just like.
This is a little like the basic income arguments against basic income. They don't address the class issue or the just the fact that the people who are losing their jobs right now aren't necessarily. I mean, it would help a lot if they got the $1,000, but they aren't necessarily the ones who are going to be taking the coding jobs.
We'll talk about basic income.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I like. I don't know. My point is like. Slavery was just like a precursor to shitty labor practices.
Mm-hmm. It was before labor figured out how to organize. Way before labor figured we actively prevented labor from organizing. In fact, we killed the ones that would organize.
If you look at labor practices in certain parts of the world right now, like of course we had slavery. It's just like exploitation is just like
the norm.
Something that happens as a function of capitalism.
Yep. And
we have to like harness our ethical instincts to rise above it. But all the
it's there.
Incentives are that way. So it's like, well, if we don't look at that shit and we're just like, oh, it's like black people versus white people and black people are screwed. It's just like, I don't know. I think it's so shallow.
Putting it in those terms. It gives you there's no recourse if you put it in strictly racial terms. I mean, besides like I guess there isn't it. It's one side is eliminated, the other side is eliminated, or everybody forms a perfectly even mix, and those are the only three options. I don't.
It's so interesting because like I'm black, but I went to like really good schools. And like did that whole thing, and it's very clear to me that whether like how well you get treated is more about social circles than your skin color.
Yep. Yeah.
It's really really clear to me that it's a class issue, but like it seems like you want to talk about anything besides the actual class issues.
Speaking of, I was gonna say like third rails like that are racialized, but that are clearly class as is the thing at the core of them. I mean, besides all the labor stuff, just stuff that happened in the north of England in the past half century, that is so, it's the class dynamic there is so much more extreme than it is in the US, where everyone's kind of confused about where everyone came from. In the UK, it's just established. You're a working class slag. I'm an upper class twit. Fuck you. That's how this works. It's going to work that way forever. And it literally, it's still happening. And so just the fact that would, it's almost like you can have a situation where it's almost entirely, the actual crimes being committed they're almost entirely racialized, but the racializability is still just it's second to the fact that the only people who are getting stuck in these terrible situations are specifically people who would have been Dickensian street urchins 100 years ago. Like that's
right,
or 200, yeah. But it's weird.
Yeah, there's an issue with that too. That with the whole class issue, that Western democracy for the most part has like huge barriers to entry to power, which are class-based and which are not acknowledged, and the whole problem with the university system is that it's sort of the entryway to that class.
Right. It was, and it still is, but it's like you can't say it, right? Is that
which creates this whole contradiction of like, oh, let's give everyone college, but college is not about what you learn; it's about gaining entry into the upper middle class,
kind of getting
including what?
You're kind of getting tested along with learning things. You're getting tested. Like Harvard wouldn't give out a degree to just anyone. Therefore,
yeah.
Your
problem is not everyone can be that.
Yeah.
Like you can't give everyone access to the upper class by fiat like that. Because, exactly.
You can. I think the idea is that in the, or at least the original idea of trying to even this out was to give every class the opportunity to become upper class, and then you can either seize the opportunity or not. But then it's like, how much of an opportunity do you give, and then to what extent do you tear down other classes in order to offer one possibility?
And there's a problem is how much of the population, what percentage of the population are you going to try to put there?
Yeah.
You can't do everyone, but
population actually can get there.
What?
And what percentage of the population actually can get there?
Is
for both like environmental and
capable, yeah.
It's like
This is the Pygmalion question. Can
yeah, and yeah, and that's a huge issue with this paradigm of education of let's give everyone a college degree because college degrees determine X percent of extra income
Right.
over your lifetime. But if you give everyone a college degree, that's not going to be the case anymore.
Waters it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to have been literally what happened.
I also think it's good. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how good the education is. But a society where like the majority of people actually like went to university and read books is a much better society.
Sure.
Being in Liberia where everybody's so fucking stupid. I mean, okay, people are ignorant. Like most people can't read, right? So like being around that many ignorant people. I'm not saying like I don't know what policy I'm prescribing, like advocating for or whatever, but I think making it more possible for more people to receive a college education without like, you know, an unbelievable amount of debt, even if it doesn't mean more people are going to be in the upper class, I still think it's better for the society.
Yeah, I do too. But which is like why I'm really interested in alternative models right now in terms of getting a liberal arts education,
right?
Not with a diploma necessarily, not for credit, but just for citizenship and for your life, right? Because I also think that's great. I think, you know, people being able to be informed and being able to reflect and read books is great
for the time that they live in.
Yeah.
Participation on some level.
But what's it? But I don't think college is for that anymore, not primarily. And I think we can have alternative models that are cheap and that are more effective at doing that.
Hear, hear. I hope there's something. That's the time I'm having kids.
The thing I'm most optimistic about with artificial intelligence is I think we can really we'll be able to set the environmental stage for people to maximize whatever IQ potential.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were
that'd be great.
To sort of that last because I know teachers they can tell their students. There's some students who are learning a little faster, a little slower. That I'm talking now about pre-college, but I know you're But like that matching to the individual's sort of pace, and some students cycle. Some students are real shitty and they'll fall behind a bunch when they're a little bipolar basically. And so that having something, I was hoping you were going to go there. That's I think it almost like, you know how Wikipedia kind of you can just get lost clicking through a whole bunch of I wonder if there's a way to have a fractal scalable curriculum where some people want to.
I learned that so much better.
What?
When I learned that way so much better instead of hey, I'm trying to learn this overall body of things.
Yeah.
But, I want to find out specific things and through that sort of build this network of knowledge that can go fill in specifically once I have a broad base of understanding of the things that I'm innately interested in.
Same. Yeah. Right. Rhizomatic I think we talked about
I've had a similar thought too. I think one barrier to that is that some of the best materials are not organized that way. Yep. In terms of like if you want to learn about a particular topic, maybe there's like this one author who did the best thing. You can read about that, and to actually get the best materials, that's a sifting process that that is hard to systematize.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like maybe you can have a thing that
which books people read as part of a curriculum.
Yeah, you could. Like maybe you could point to the right books. Maybe you could, but it's hard to systematize knowledge in that way. Well, I guess you have like the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy that does that pretty well. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
I think it comes up in Google search results when I search for an obscure enough, countertemporality or something.
Sure.
End up being the only. Wikipedia is like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's a pretty good resource in terms of, they actually get philosophers to write the articles, specialists in that field or that philosopher. They get like professors and stuff to do that, and it's a really good like sort of introductory material to that those sort of more arcane topics. But yeah, that's something that worked. And I mean Wikipedia is a great success too in its own way.
Yeah, it has its issues, but it's better than a lot of other encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next candidate on the list, I have met him, John Delaney. I have a photo with him. He is a 4-term congressman from Maryland, and
hold on one second. Can I interrupt you real fast? Talking about artificial intelligence and learning. I was looking into this, and I just put an article in the thing. Can you pop it open?
Oh,
it's pretty cool. Yeah,
the Medium thing. Adaptive learning startup Squirrel AI raises concern. This August, thousands of Chinese middle school students participated in a 2-day AI teacher versus human teacher competition. Students were separated into 2 groups. One received math tutoring from experienced teachers, the other from an intelligent learning system. The result was favorable to the machines, as the students from the AI group delivered a better score on the final test. Interesting. Not an Android that stands in front of the whiteboard, but an e-learning system that students can digitally access. Yeah, that would be how it works. Yeah, and it's some sort of online something or other. Born in the hopeful 70s. What? Adaptive learning had for decades failed to deliver on its promise. A failure generally attributed to limited computational resources and algorithms. A turnaround emerged between 2005 and 2010 as U.S. startups such as Newton and Dreambox started integrating AI algorithms into their teaching systems.
The system ingests and parses all middle school textbooks into a cross-disciplinary knowledge graph with 30,000 academic concepts. It uses test score data such as type of wrong answers and even time spent on each question to build profiles for each student based on their strengths, weaknesses, interests, and knowledge level.
Is the idea that it's a squirrel because it's squirreling away all the nuts of knowledge? Because there's the other.
But I think this is what. I think this kind of education is what's gonna like liberate the like second half of humanity.
Yeah.
Like ignorance, like that, because it actually can scale.
I wonder. Yeah. I wonder. I have this sneaking suspicion that the reason that IQ looks like a single target, maybe it's moving, but it feels like a single target that is actually normally distributed, might be that at any one moment in this civilization or in a society, IQ as some optimum, as like some amalgam of different normalizable scores on tests of intelligence that will relate to like what is actually intelligent in the world that you're in, that target may actually exist, but that the part of the reason, like one of the things that makes that target bell curve shaped is that reaching increasingly abnormal neurotypes becomes a costlier and costlier endeavor, especially if you're using the current system. And so, it's like personalized medicine as well. Like some people, it's really hard to keep them alive into their 70s. Some people would have been in their 70s if they were out in the jungle, like 10,000 years ago without any medical technology. They're very robust. And so it's that expense is not equally distributed. You don't know. You might genetically find it out, and then that becomes a whole other ethical issue. But that how much it will cost or how much is required to sort of bridge the gap between a given human and the rest of civilization could be prohibitively expensive for some people. Right now, obviously, it is for some people. But then it might also be extremely expensive what we're doing right now, where we're kind of dumbing down a fraction of real smart people by not tapping their potential the same way.
Yeah.
So I just know that, for example, like autistic kids, there are autistic kids who will take IQ tests that are verbal and they'll score mentally retarded, like in the 70, 80 range, and then they'll take nonverbal tests and they'll be like 140, like a physicist, a very famous physicist type, like that, be like or a philosopher, fine. But but the fact that there's a like a weird kind of right now we're so certain, or maybe it's because of what I read. Like it's not like alt-right stuff, but it tends to be a range of different. Charles Murray comes up a lot, and I'm not so convinced.
These problems from a biological perspective, which means voice has to be. That's the thing. But conversations with the biological perspective are always super uncomfortable.
Yep, because we're all embodied. We're all people. We all came from somewhere, and we're going somewhere. We all have, like, interest or not.
You have to really set aside ego to have any kind of productive conversation.
Yeah,
that's on the table.
It's kind of crazy that it can even happen given the environment right now. But I guess it's because we have these, like, the digital world has, you can have like the craziest shit going on right next to, it's just some business storing all its data. And then this one, this is like horrendous, like illegal, you'll have like on the same server, one's encrypted or they're both encrypted. They have no idea what's, so you'll have adjacency of like, Silk Road Online and IBM will both be using, mega.nz's servers for like the internet has like a certain amount of like, oh, everybody's listening to everybody at once, but also you can create a place of complete silence and just you and just one other person and you're just in an apartment talking. And I don't know, I mean, in the past, like how available was, I guess you had phone calls, you had radio type stuff, but like we have less privacy. And then I guess it's not really more privacy, but there's like a wider range of maybe what can be said. I don't know what it's.
Well, of communities because
what?
Of communities because people can congregate.
There you go. That would be it. And so you get a weird intersection. And you can just have that back channel just there encrypted. You just we're like nobody watches our little. The Gamergate guy was on episode 2. Nobody cares. I just find
it's a long tail, as they say.
What?
A long tail.
All right. Well, anyway, sorry. I was half making a point there. China's Newton. Okay, I love how it's called Knewton. Newton. That's funny. All right, so John Delaney is a former 4-term congressman from Maryland, less well-known than Buttigieg, at least has a memorable name. Is he running? Is he ever? Yeah, he announced way back in June 2017, and I think I saw him in September of 2017, because New Hampshire is like the primary state. So for one day, I suppose 2 separate days, but really one day out of every 4 years, little Dixville Notch, actually, for the first hour of the day. Dixville Notch in New Hampshire is a small region that holds an election, and there's only like 8 people living in Dixville Notch, but they hold it at 3 a.m. so that I swear this is true. You can look up Dixville Notch did their, yeah. And then the rest of New Hampshire votes. But anyway, because of that one day where it decides whether or not you'll you hit the ground running or not, New Hampshire, all the presidents or all the people who became presidents later, they were in New Hampshire while running. And so we were the center of attention for. So like, there's that guy with a boot on his head. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Vermin Supreme. I remember Vermin Supreme when I was in high school. I remember him during the Obama thing. He would run around Elm Street and he'd yell about everyone gets a free pony. That was his platform. I love that man. But he's like from like Candia or some like backwoods area of New Hampshire, I think. Actually, is he from New Hampshire? Maybe he's from Maine. They're all like crazy like that. But anyway, so there was some Democrat fundraiser thing, and I know some people who are involved in the Democratic Party in New Hampshire, and so they got me into that. And it sounded like the one really weird, like he seemed like he was testing out his stump speech or whatever, and it worked out. And then at the end, he's Catholic and he's a Democrat. So abortion came up and it was super, super quiet, really awkward. My significant other recalls that being the weirdest moment of the entire, there was some ladies were questioning him about it, and I recall him giving some sort of, it was an explicit answer that he clearly had come up with beforehand, but he was basically saying, in my own household, I would have my own rules about that, but when I'm president, I will maintain the status quo, the pro-choice or whatever, is in the. I believe that was what he said, and it was just really awkward, just like grating. Everyone was like challenging him on that one, because they're chucking babies into meat grinders, so like it is. I get why people freak out. I totally get it. I'm just, I totally understand, but it's funny that becomes like the moment of awkwardness in the room. I don't know. But anyway, he doesn't seem to have a chance at the moment, but he's like a bajillionaire, so that helps.
Yeah.
Like bajillionaire.
Next.
All right. I love can he win the nomination? Nah. Tulsi Gabbard. I like her, but tell me why she sucks.
I don't think she sucks.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I don't think I know anything about her.
All right. She's likely to draw support from Sanders backers. I like her because maybe we'll actually stop intervening in things. She has a non-interventionist foreign policy. Her central issue is war and peace.
That's good.
And she'd be our first Hindu president.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing. That's the thing about Trump that like I can't get too worked up about him. That like nothing that he's done seems to me beyond the pale compared to other American presidents.
A lot of things that are beyond the pale.
What?
Yeah. Well, he said some shit that's a little beyond the pale. But
I mean, he said it personally, but let's say as president, like his actual policies. Not that I support it, but there's nothing that's like, okay, he's crossed the line that Obama didn't. I can't really say that I see that in terms of.
Okay, so what are the main lines for you?
I think if he invaded Iran or something.
But I mean, he's basically like set it up so that like Iran and Saudi Arabia are going to have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, so that's what I mean about the Tulsi Gabbard thing. So I know that wasn't a deal breaker, right? But you're saying that Trump hasn't done anything, but it seems like he has been. He's just continued our Middle East trajectory of securing the realm or whatever.
Basically, I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying, like, well, for instance, if he actually went through with,
he increased the deficit. He cut corporate taxes in a way that was just completely unnecessary, and increased.
No, I know. Like, I'm not saying he's good.
Like $1 trillion.
I'm not saying he's good. Yeah, no, that's bad. I'm not saying he's good. It's more like not beyond the pale on the scale of U.S. presidents. Like,
right. Although maybe,
well, for instance,
although we're just in such a fucking weird place anyway, financially.
I know, but like, for instance, if he had ended U.S. involvement in the military involvement in the Middle East, like, that would be a pretty good legacy for him. Like,
he's still got 5.5 years.
I think it depends on how you do it, right?
I suppose it does, but like, if he actually followed through on things he said he'd do in that respect, it's more like, you know, if you compare Obama and Trump, we can get into the details of policy. We can get into like those sorts of things. But the idea that Trump is absolutely beyond the pale in terms of
stated.
It depends on what's important to you. Right?
I think he's stated things. The vibrations from his mouth are what I would call beyond the pale sometimes.
Sure. Okay, absolutely.
But that's only because the decorum constraints on politicians have become ridiculous with TV and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure the politicians in the 20s were saying some pretty fucking insane things.
I'm sure they were. And like,
it's really a brief period where we're all crazy about, they gotta, yeah, but I don't know.
But I think if you take, like, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, the whole Obama's drone campaign and the expansion of acceptable targets and that sort of thing, like, nothing that Trump has done is sort of on another level of worse than that.
Yeah.
That's more or less what I mean. Like, if
Obama's drone campaign, well, first of all, Trump has ratcheted it up significantly.
Right, but Obama actually.
I don't know how I feel about drones
with a drone.
I don't know how I feel about drones in general.
Anwar al-Awlaki, for making YouTube videos. This was a U.S. citizen who technically had only done the Charles Manson thing. he did a music thing with the goth and yeah. But
I agree. I'm not saying that they haven't overstepped in a lot of ways. So the question is like how would you go about using drones if you were U.S. president?
That's a really tough. I'm glad I'm not.
Yeah, dude, that's not fucking simple.
No, it's an absolutely tough question.
Wait, you would not use them?
No, there's no way you could just not use them.
I know. You're right.
That would be unethical.
It would hopefully I would have the ability. If I didn't, I'd hopefully be able to at least tell everyone that I couldn't. But I'd have the ability to really reduce the number so that the goal would be, if you're trying to be ethical at the top, is to make principled, unpopular decisions which would cost America more in the short term, but would not create a bunch of enemies in the long term. So deploying troops in lieu of bombing from above, right? That's the sort of thing. In like, send in the commandos, and then they don't kill a random school full of people. Like, commandos, hopefully they would know, okay, all right, stop shooting. It's a school. Like, you know what I mean? They're smarter than a smart bomb. That's the commandos die more, and that's a political problem. And then it's hard to get elected. And that's my simplified view of this whole thing.
I get it.
So, I don't know. I feel like if you're saying the U.S. droned a bunch of people, and if you think about how fucked up that is, nothing Trump's done is near that fucked up. I don't know. I feel
I'm
like
not saying it's near that fucked up. I'm saying it's not qualitatively worse.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's almost scarier to me that there's been no substantial change, but because these are literally black and white. This the most
increased the amount of
presidents you could get, and everything's the same. What?
He's increased the amount of drone strikes 4x.
Well, like Obama increased them a bunch more than Bush did. The drone strikes have been going up.
Yeah, and it's not just drone strikes per se, because I agree. Like, I'm sure if I were in their position, I would use drones. But it's like, secret assassinations with very little oversight of people who are only very arguably, combatants. That sort of
just having John Bolton in power is like way beyond the pale. And like
I'll be right back.
And Elliot Abrams being in charge of Venezuela, I think just like those two things, having those individuals making decision while James Mattis quits because he thinks your foreign policy prescriptions are.
Yeah, that's terrible, and I don't mean this as like a general defense of Trump. I think it's not. It's been a mess in a lot of those ways. His administration, in a lot of those kinds of ways. It's more that like this treating him as like as such a, let's say, someone who might praise Obama and think Obama was a great president, and then say that Trump
trying to put Herman Cain on the Federal Reserve, on the board of the government. Like, dude, Herman Cain.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. I will grant you that.
Like,
but like, let's say like,
Paul, did you know this? Paul, he's not. Paul, did you know this?
What?
Trump is trying to put Herman Cain on the board of the governors of the Federal Reserve.
I just got to process that. The Fed?
The Fed. Shucky ducky. Aw, shucky ducky. The Fed.
Yes! Yes! I want it! I want it!
Like,
oh, shucky ducky.
Dude, like, you can't. I'm sorry. No. Like, Herman Cain.
Bohemian Grove. What the hell? What? Why are y'all wearing masks? Oh my god. I ain't putting that anywhere near my ass.
What was he like?
From Bohemian Grove.
Shaky
Crazy, all crazy.
What didn't he have like it was like a pizza chain store? It's like Shakey's Pizza or some shit like that. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. The only clean pizza chain in the whole country that's not laundering money. Who's after Gabbard?
Right. So there's
just a
oh yeah, go.
Godfather's Pizza, apparently.
Godfather's Pizza, okay.
But just quickly, just to wrap up what I was saying, maybe
it's an old-timey mafia. Then it's none of this modern.
So the point is, I can't see the sense in like saying Obama was a great president, but Trump is a war criminal, something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
I think
totally.
There's a bunch of terrible shit that Trump has done. I think his administration's a mess. But
everybody hates everyone, and they're all turning on each other, right?
Yeah. But like if he managed, for example, to take out
all war
US
criminals.
military involvement.
There's a reason the U.S. refuses to. Wait, I'm sorry. Did you guys hear what I said?
You just cut out.
No, I was saying they're all war criminals. There's a reason the U.S. like Trump is blocking ICC investigators from coming into the U.S. It's like, no, you can't come here to investigate. Like the U.S. has been war criminals since the World War II.
Shh! Don't tell nobody.
Like if I had my way, Henry Kissinger and like Henry Kissinger through, I don't know, Dick Cheney or whatever. I don't know about Obama, but definitely like before then, all of those people should be like incarcerated. Like,
Yeah.
And Jimmy? Good old Jimmy had to give up his peanut farm. Wait, am I crazy? Was he wait. Shit.
What?
Jimmy Carter was after the no. You're saying Jimmy Carter should be incarcerated?
No, I'm not saying like every president since.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, like the people in those administrations, like there are war criminals in every administration since war.
Yeah, certainly by the standards we hold
I'm
up.
going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. But go ahead and continue.
What?
He's just going to the bathroom. He'll be.
Not by our standards, by the standards that they laid out and said what a war criminal was after World War II.
World War II, Geneva. Yeah.
I'm not like.
What's the Geneva Convention?
But it's like in Africa, for example, there have been like strongmen that have like opposed U.S. interests, and they get taken out and taken to the ICC. But it's like they should be taken to the ICC. They did like commit a lot of these crimes, right?
But the guy taking them to the ICC also, I know it's
yeah. And it's like so we're subject, but you're not subject.
I think part of it is that America has managed to eke out an enormous the decision-making apparatus in America is a democratic republic or whatever, and within the bounds of that democracy they keep it functional enough that maybe the horrors that sort of are required in certain other places to perpetuate that bountiful harvest, shall we say, they aren't immediately apparent to the people making the decisions or voting the people in. So this is neoliberal capitalism, right? This is we're going to go build a factory in another country, and it might go to shit, and we might just up and leave, and then everybody there is forced to turn to child prostitution or something because the fucking the agricultural base is gone, and it doesn't matter because Nike was able to make cheap shoes for like that's the big complaint about. Well, we were just talking about exploitation, capitalism being almost inevitably exploitative.
Although,
and that at an international scale, it's not like the people in that country where the factory was made have any voting power in
exactly.
So
although I'll say like foreign investment has been really good from what I've
what has
net good. Maybe you can make an argument for a net good.
Net good, sure. Here's one thing that like I've talked about before, but doesn't get appreciated very much. Sort of anti-corruption and compliance standards and quality control, that kind of thing. A lot of foreign companies come in, bring a lot of these things where they didn't previously exist, and so sort of in addition to employing people, in addition to contributing to the local economy in that way, there's also just experience in management and management techniques and that sort of thing, which does tend to improve the local business environment
and the situation of the locals as well is.
Well, yeah, because that stuff ends up getting translated into local businesses as well, right? Because a guy was a manager at I don't know, IBM or Samsung, and then he goes to a local company, or a lot of this knowledge is brought in to the local economy.
A lot of whenever there's sort of criticism of corruption in some, you know, until recently third world country or something like that, where, oh, you know, and then we tried to come in Haiti or something, and we tried to set up, but and then it all went. I wonder to what extent a lot of the like, oh, this corruption was inevitable in this particular country is partly based on the fact that, like, you know, the marshmallow test, where you're like, well, the poor kids, they just don't think ahead. And so they eat the marshmallow right away when you leave the room, and you say, you'll get 2 marshmallows if I come back and you haven't eaten this one. The poor kids are more likely to eat the marshmallow. And then they go, well, that's because they're the poor type of person, and that person doesn't think ahead far enough, blah, blah, blah. It was inevitable. But then if nobody is created in a vacuum, everybody comes from somewhere. And so the person who comes from poverty would be less likely to trust the man in a lab coat to give him in the same way that the country that's been in corruption, Albania or whatever, when someone then comes in and does development, everyone's kind of looking at him like, are you fuckers about to leave and leave us with a whole bunch of like toxic waste or something? And then that inability to just trust, for a rational inability to trust, the totally reasonable to not trust in that situation, that just perpetuates the corruption, because you kind of need a high trust environment to do
trust is a huge issue. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
it's like, how do you establish it first without, I mean, in some cases it was like an ethnic, you know, you have like, yeah, people all German and so, yeah, why would you not trust my German comrade? And comrade, yeah, my German, you know, compatriot. But like, you can't, that, first of all, that doesn't apply now anywhere, or I mean, with the internet and stuff like that. But it also, like, it's not everywhere that you can necessarily use that model where you're like, well, everybody was in the same village at the time. Although I do wonder, like, are there places that are ethnically homogenous but are poor, and so you could tap that in the same way that, like, it was, you know, you could sort of tap the high trust that's already there in order to bootstrap some, like the way China's doing development in Africa. I don't know. Although in terms of high trust society, I don't know if, like, Edwin, you were saying that
we're not a high trust society.
Yeah. Oh wait, Liberia, or
not a high trust.
Not a high trust society. Now, is that partly because, I mean, is it like you mentioned, the Fulani was that politician who got, now we're jumping way ahead to Liberian politics, but this was getting a little boring. I guess the next person was Andrew Yang, and then Marianne Williamson.
Talk to Andrew Yang.
Cory Booker, Joe Biden, Steve Bullock, Sherrod Brown, Eric Swalwell. Jesus, there's so many. Terry McAuliffe, Seth Moulton, Michael Bennett, Wayne Messam.
Can we just talk about Biden, Yang?
Yeah, let's talk about Biden, Yang, and then Liberian politics.
And who else? Maybe one more person.
Biden, Yang, Stacey Abrams, Mike Gravel. I fucking love this guy. Mike Gravel. He was this guy who okay. So Gravel, 88, represented Alaska for 2 terms in the Senate, during which he read the Pentagon Papers into the congressional record and fought against the Vietnam War. So, like,
that's
he
awesome.
took it. Yeah, this guy is, I love him because he's nuts. And he had a campaign ad back during the Obama times when I was growing up in New Hampshire. Then the ad was just him, and he's standing next to a lake, and then he throws a rock into the lake, and the ripples go out. And then it was just like Mike Gravel, the president. And like, I get, like, there was like some deep metaphor, but also, what the fuck are you doing? That's insane that you would make that your ad, or you're not gonna win, you idiot. But anyway, he's the one who during the debates he would say, like, we have all the nuclear codes or something like that. He was just we're gonna nuke Iran. Like, not that he wants that, but he's like, why do we have
we're gonna do that? Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like as a civilization, if you are gonna have all these nuclear weapons and we'll be on the brink of insanity all the time, and yet we're all just gonna act like that's not the case, you need to have one dude in the corner still saying, who's like, guys, nothing's changed. We're all still there. We could all just get nuclear wintered. That is very important to me for the sanity of a society. You need to have that guy. He seems insane, but it's because everybody else is acting sane and under completely insane circumstances. Anyway, that's Mike Gravel. He's running. De Blasio is running. Bloomberg is running. Eric Holder is running. Cuomo looks like an Italian vampire.
Who does?
Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo.
Apparently de Blasio might be running too.
Hillary Clinton is running?
No, dude, I don't think that list is right.
Oh, why does she want to run? She doesn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're kidding. Yeah. Michael Avenatti, Tom Steyer.
Wait, you saw Michael Avenatti got arrested for trying to blackmail Nike?
When? Like in the last 4 days?
In the past week.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Huh. It's almost like blackmailing people is like a thing that they do a lot in politics. You think, no, really, no, that wouldn't be running the country right now or anything like that. So anyway, Stacey Abrams is another one.
She's not running either. Dude, what is this list? Anyway, let's just talk about Andrew Yang and Joe Biden.
Oh, you're right. He's running not at the moment. Sorry. Okay, Andrew Yang and Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is so creepy.
Yeah, he's really creepy.
Like, did you see those videos of him just like
groping little girls?
These like 12-year-old women?
I don't
understand how someone can think that's appropriate.
I think the way I heard it described was it's a little bit like that really weird thing that older men do where they shake your hand and they pull you in. And it's something, I think there was some stupid book in the 80s or something that suggested that was a power move, and now all the executive people do it. And I guess it sort of is in the same way that coming into a room and being like, shouting out like a racial epithet or something is also a power move in some sense, where like, okay, you have everyone's attention now, you weirdo. Like, that was socially unacceptable. And in the same way, like grabbing your, pulling you in, but it's friendly the whole time. That, I guess, like puts everyone like off center sort of a thing. But I don't understand how it should. I assume he thinks that it's a friendly, it gets you closer to someone to like manhandle them or something. But why is he doing it to people's kids and stuff? It's weird.
And on TV, yeah.
I like benefit of the doubt, all these things. Like Podesta might just be a weird new agey guy who says strange things about getting energized by children and stuff. Maybe he just doesn't realize how bad that all sounds. It could just be like a Mr. Bean sort of just wandering into situations where it really looks like it's far more nefarious. And in the same way, I think maybe Biden. Maybe Biden is just an idiot. It might be like an old, dumb, weird person. So anyway, I want to hear your takes.
And also, like, if you look at the things he's advocated for in the past, like, they're not whatever. I mean, I don't really care about policy. It's just like, why is a 78-year-old dude want to be president?
Because
I just feel like that shouldn't. Like,
because then he wouldn't have to grope him on camera. Once you're president, you can grab by the pussy. Sorry.
I mean, maybe I'll change my mind when I'm that old, but I feel like 78 years old is really old.
Maybe they'll kill his family.
What?
He woke up in the cigar smoke filled room.
No, but okay, and then people are calling it ageism now. When you're like somebody is too old, they're like ageism, and it's like, well, like wait.
if you call it ageism when they get too old to drive, and then you call that ageism, that is similar to the circumstance where there was a movie where they couldn't get a stunt actress who rode motorcycles for a role for someone. She had to be mixed race, and they couldn't get a mixed race stunt actress for that particular role who rode motorcycles. So they got a mixed race one who didn't ride motorcycles, and she fucking died. I mean, that's the same where like, that's ageism. You can't tell him not to drive. Running over children. You're like, what about ageism? They're not caring about kids.
Did you see Obama after 8 years of being in power? The idea that like you would subject a 70-something-year-old dude to that.
Yeah.
It's just what.
You should be allowed to point out that that's fucking weird.
That's insane. Like,
how old is Trump again? Because he's pretty old.
Yeah, he would also be in the 70s. Like,
Biden probably is like 73, I think.
Okay.
72 or 73. And he's clearly losing it.
Yeah.
Like, he's clearly like, not all there.
All these ancient fucking. I wonder
if we shouldn't like put the fate of the species in the hands of like people whose brains are actually not functional. You know, just like
that are supposed to be. I mean, they're in their golden years. They're supposed to be on their way out. Just kind of things are supposed to kind of drift away. I mean, ideally, you're getting senile so that your back pain constantly is not. Yeah. I mean, that's the way I'd like to think it happens. But, it's fucked up, fucking weird to think he's on stimulants, running around, running the country, eating McDonald's. What the fuck?
On stimulants, 77, eats fast food every day and drinks soda.
As Louis C.K. eats high octane garbage.
Oh my god! Just.
Oh, it's a weird.
I obviously like. Okay, so the last one's like Andrew Yang, right?
Sure.
Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang.
Like, I'm a UBI guy, so I don't know. What do you think about him? Have you heard about him at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Ornifio, what do you want us to call you on this again, or just use?
Just call me Kaio. That's
Kaio. Okay. Right.
I haven't heard much about. I know the UBI thing, but that's about it.
Yeah.
UBI in Silicon Valley. And an Asian guy he said an Asian guy who likes math is the literal opposite of Trump. Like that.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. So Marx called proponents of UBI vulgar socialists. He called it vulgar socialism.
Who said that?
Marx did.
Who? Wait, Art?
Marx did.
Marxton.
Karl Marx.
Oh, okay. The guy. Oh, of course UBI was an idea back then. And I would say, yeah, that's right. And the complex, fancy socialism, that's where shit gets all fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where you're like, oh, the Politburo. You must appeal to Politburo for it. And you're like, that guy is, knows that other politician raped someone's wife, and now he's dead. It's just the corruption just goes all the way up. Have you guys seen the Death of Stalin?
No.
That was so good. That movie, and it has Buscemi in it. Buscemi played Khrushchev. So I think he played the guy who replaces Stalin, who was like a whimsical, wasn't, but who was like, he would go home every day with the jokes that were successful with Stalin. Like Stalin is like getting drinking and just in his home all the time. He would just sign off death lists, just fucking kill all these people. And like Khrushchev would like entertain him drunkenly every night. And I suppose it was to maintain his, like, he was doing the jester act to not get killed, to not end up on the list. But and then he ended up thankfully seizing power afterwards, because the leader of the I think the KGB or the intelligence agency in he was the one who was he had all the dirt on everyone, and that guy was fucking awful, if the movie's accurate, which I looked it up, and that guy had raped a whole bunch of people. Isn't that weird how like like the most base, terrible things humans do, it scales, and the terrible people at the top who are also terrible, they also do that's just interesting. Anyway, like Bill Clinton. Okay, so why did I get on the Soviet stuff? Oh, we should see Death Stalin. You should see that. It's good stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, and socialism, crude socialism. Okay. So, yes.
Not crude socialism.
What?
It's vulgar socialism.
Right.
Because presumably, you're not embracing the socialist ethos of we're all in this together. It's more like, here's some money, fuck off. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, but that sounds like a pretty privileged thing to think, to be honest.
It's a form of appeasement, but I don't know anything else that'll work right now. People have been fucked with so much in just in the past decades. It's whole
$1,000 a month.
Offended.
Like, that is huge. Like, think about how much of a difference that would make for
life and death for some people. Yeah, and it's not that expensive. It is really expensive in terms of it's weird. If you compare it to other government programs that are meant to alleviate the same troubles, it is so much cheaper. Yeah, it's so much better. Some of the ways that, like, the complexity of funneling the right $12,000 to the right person who actually does have the particular need for it, and it still gets all corrupt and shit. But the complexity of that can cost more than $12,000 just to make sure it's going to the right person. Right. Time. And so if you can just say we're eliminating all of that big complex apparatus, at least for that person, you won't. He couldn't
like a couple $100 billion.
What?
You're saving like a couple $100 billion.
Yes. Yeah. And that would be on the, and it's money that would have it's like colleges. It would have just gone into the administration part of the process of making sure this guy gets money and this guy doesn't. And instead we just say everybody gets an even cut. Because proving that someone has not already gotten money for the last month, that's not that hard to do. Should be a biometric thing, or could just be, you could use ID. That's more
smart contract. Very simple stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You could. That's the other thing. Everybody's so worried now about biometrics and privacy and all this stuff. When you now have the Brave browser, you have ways of holding on to the privacy part of your data while still keeping it available for statistical and other purposes that you would have some understanding of when you allow it to be used that way. That seems like the solution to this crisis, but we'll see.
But looking through his Twitter now,
is like, I support it even if automation doesn't threaten people.
Yeah, just because of the
society can afford to do it. I think this society should. Like, I wouldn't support a basic income in Liberia, right?
You would not?
No, because there's just not enough money.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you could afford one, it would be a god.
If you could afford one, we should do it. Yeah. My whole thing is, like, I would support it, like, regardless of whether automation was threatening people's jobs or not. I don't think there's. I like, it's like, okay, yeah, like, people who are fuck ups might just, like, use that money to do drugs or whatever.
Oh, they will. They will.
They will. Like, okay, fine, but that's.
Right now they do.
Right.
It doesn't, and they have to rob me to get the money to do it.
Right.
I mean, I don't see anyone proposing any better solutions. That's maybe my whole argument for the UBI thing is that, sure, maybe we could figure something out, but right now, like, there's not and maybe that's not exactly what you're arguing. It would be as a baseline in general. I would argue it's more of a stopgap, or it's like it's a
Well, I think whether it's a stopgap depends on what happens with the automations.
Yep. Yeah.
And we don't exactly know what's going to happen, but there are good reasons to think that, like, the new jobs are just not going to be like even if they exist, people aren't going to be able to train for them fast enough. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean. But then that's kind of how the job growth trajectory is partly determined by how quickly people can, like, so, like, there won't be the next job if the next job wasn't grabbed.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So, like, they might be like the trainability of your workforce, but that may make UBI maybe still be useful, because having 1 million people or 50 million people with totally varying backgrounds and degrees of education and stuff like that, and then just sporadically tapping them for whatever talents they might be able to bring, for whatever technologies added that decade or that year or whatever, and then being confident that the rest of them are not just dying or whatever, or just fucking going on opiates all the time. And although
you want a society where people are taking a lot of risks, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Like
depends on the risk, but yeah.
No, I think like
it says the Brazilian guy's like, no, wait, not all the types of risks are.
No, but I agree, and a big issue with us is that a lot of our laws make at least are really hard on entrepreneurship, both in terms of bureaucracy and certain risks.
Are you guys as bad as India?
In terms of what?
Corrupt socialistic kind of like prevention of the entrepreneur's trajectory.
I haven't looked at India, but we're considered among the worst. Like most
India is terrible.
You gotta pay off like 50 people to get your business even started.
Okay, you don't have to pay off people to start a business here.
Yeah, it's not really about whether you pay people off, because in many ways, like if you get to pay people off, oftentimes it makes it more efficient.
Yeah.
But it is. So I was going to say, India is the place that guy who stole all that crypto and then died. He didn't. He had it in his head. He had the
supposedly died. We don't really know.
Right. So that's he went to India, and it's really cheap to forge a death certificate in India.
Sure.
So I think actually, did you tell me that?
I might have mentioned it.
I'm recounting to you the story that you told me. I love when that happens.
It's great. It's great. But you need an accountant to have a business, to like open the business and do the taxes.
You need an accountant or a lawyer to do anything.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're talking about something else. Oh, never mind.
No, I'm just saying, like, even for a very, very small business, you need an accountant to navigate the
with the song "I Need a Jew."
Right. Well, yeah, like I have a business that's just me for tax purposes, which is ridiculous, by the way. So here's this little ridiculous tidbit about Brazil. We don't have especially high income tax. The top tax bracket is 27.5%. Though though the thresholds are pretty low because average income is so low. But if your income comes as capital gains from a business, you don't pay income tax on that.
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh. Yeah. You just have to start a business in order to get paid without any tax. You're not paying any taxes.
Well, you do pay corporate income tax,
as if you were a business. You were.
Yeah, that's like 10-12%.
As opposed to income tax, which can be like 40 or 50, right?
27.5 is our top tax bracket.
Oh,
okay. So it is pretty low.
I'm good. Sweden or something.
What?
I'm probably thinking of like Sweden or something.
Yeah, Brazil's not nearly that socialist.
No. Well, we have a lot of taxes on other things. Like we have a really heavy tax burden, but it's not mostly income tax.
Is it consumption taxes?
Oh, we have a bunch. We have all sorts. Like some businesses actually like list the taxes on the receipts, just so you'll know how much goes to the government, and it's like 40% or something.
Oh God.
It's really high. It's
So it's just like regressive consumption taxes.
yeah. Our tax burden is heavy, is regressive on net, and and this loophole with the corporate tax is ridiculous. It's so like all the doctors that work at the clinic where my family clinic, they all are paid as businesses basically, because why the fuck not? Why wouldn't you, right?
I guess part of the thing that does is it's sort of a tax on people who are, for one reason or another, incapable of implementing that or know about that business thing. Well, I guess everyone would know about, if you like go to the place to make a local bit, talk to a lawyer about making an LLC or whatever, or I guess it's just already widely known, but it's also, you have to pay a bunch of people in order to get something like that put into place.
It's not that widely known. I only found out about it.
Okay.
It's widely known in the professional class, let's say.
That's
right?
Okay. So then that is what I was. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So, and it does have some costs. Like
it's not widely known.
You'd have to make at least 10 grand a month in reais for it to pay for itself in terms of accountants' fees and stuff.
Yeah,
that's sort of around the threshold. But yeah, well, and the fact is, like, if you don't make that much, you probably just don't declare that income.
Yeah. Okay.
There's that too.
Under the table.
Like I worked as an English teacher for a while at language schools, and that's how they do it. Like
they would just okay.
Basically, people make money and don't declare it.
Yeah, that's sort of what you force people to do when you set something up like that, where there's like a bar suddenly where you and then once it's in place, it changes the structure of everything. All innovation, altered. I don't know.
The other thing, and the really bad thing, is labor laws.
Like how long you can work?
No. Well, okay. So there's like a few things about labor laws that are particular to Brazil. Brazil is especially like heavy-handed with its labor laws. So first is that like there's a bunch of stuff that a contract cannot supplant. Okay, so no matter what it says on the contract, these things are guaranteed rights. What?
You can't sell your freedom to people.
Yeah, but it's
probably a historical reason.
More like if there's a historical reason for that.
Oh no, I'm saying there's probably historical reasons why they would like. Have there been cases in the distant past where people were contractually into slavery?
It's more like the left has been really in power since the 1988 Constitution, and has managed to do a lot of these things. Like, I think it's pretty bad in terms of
like what
the effects it has on business. Because it's like, okay, the full cost of an employee is usually between 40 and 80% over base salary.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
like health and shit. What's the base salary? But okay, so what are the other things you're paying for?
You get an extra on vacation pay, a 13th salary.
Gotcha.
There are a few taxes. There's unemployment insurance that gets paid into. Anyway, but it's extremely, extremely complex. And it's stuff like, even if you don't have a contract if the person works for you more than 3 days a week. That's considered an employment relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of arcane rules about like overtime and if the person works at night.
If you show up to work in a donkey, then they have to feed it.
There's stuff like, okay, for instance, one thing that happened at the company is a guy who was walking to work tripped and fell. And that's considered a work injury.
No way.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, so we paid his salary through his entire medical leave. And if there were permanent injuries, we might have to pay like a lifelong pension or
Bullshit.
That makes it so risky suddenly.
Yeah. Oh, and here's what else.
Small enough business might just have to go under if something like that happened.
Yeah.
There's more. There's more. There's a whole system that's a whole labor court system. It's not the civil courts like it is in most countries. It's specifically the labor courts. And first of all, labor debts are the first that are liquidated, or take precedence over anything else. And if I'm not mistaken, labor debts will pierce the corporate veil. That is, if the company goes bankrupt, you can't, and the company can't pay all its labor debts,
then the people who made up
the owners.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I know a few families that like were bankrupted basically by this sort of thing.
That's rough because like it's just the potential, and that's enough. That would deter so many people. Holy shit!
Absolutely.
I did not know it was that bad.
Yeah. Oh, and like my grandma's getting sued because my grandma has dementia, pretty advanced, so we're doing the defense. But she had a lady who worked for her for a long time who as just sort of a companion, just like to be there and call someone if something happens, right? Mm-hmm. But it was like they hung out, they watched TV together, they played cards, she slept over. And she got a pretty good salary for that. But, it ended up being 16 hours a day, right? Because she slept over, because,
she lived there.
Most of it was pretty...
Almost lived there, yeah.
Most of it was not work at all. It was just hanging out.
Right.
But she's suing now, and...
For what?
Yeah, for what? What happened?
Well, the law doesn't recognize
companionship or whatever.
What?
It doesn't recognize that type. I was assuming it's like a nurse.
It does recognize that type of labor, but you cannot say like, oh, that was the deal and it was fine with her for many years, because that was just sort of how that was the deal. It was okay. It was restful for her. She wasn't overworked.
But what was the violence?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Was it she got fired or something?
Well, she did get fired because she was abusing my grandma in a few ways. Like, she was terrible. She had a temper, and probably drugging my grandma.
Holy shit!
So that she could sleep. But
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad.
Pretty dark, pretty fast there.
Yep, bad turn.
No, it's terrible. But anyway, the thing is, the law doesn't recognize.
I thought she stole something. That was what I was gonna say. So, okay, never mind.
Back when my grandma was at least lucid enough to like write checks, she got loans from my grandma. which my grandma would then forget about.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that sucks.
But the thing is, like, it isn't an adequate defense to say, like, oh, this was voluntary, this was our deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
She worked 16 hours a day, and that's abusive. Also, like, whatever she was paid is going to be considered the base salary for a regular workday. So, so the law would entitle her to overtime above whatever she worked more than 8 hours, plus a bunch of like extras that would be calculated based on that.
Back pay she's suing for?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I've done a lot of translation of labor suits, and it's always that, because there are things that are compounded on that back pay, on unpaid overtime, on there's just a lot of compounding over these things. So
probably a big sum she's asking for then.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. And it's that thing that a contract or an agreement cannot cannot contradict these things, right? And so there's a bunch of things that are set up very much in favor of the worker, and it creates enormous risks to an employer.
Yeah, shit. It's just there's like a stratum of scale of entrepreneurship that you just kind of get rid of. Like, how much is it an entrepreneurship to just be like, this is an older lady who I'm going to take care of, and there'll be a little financial back and forth, and then it works out for everyone for however many years, and then just turn that into this shit show of that's crazy. It's like a baker, a Christian baker. That's like
fucking ridiculous. It's like a simple human interaction that should totally be left up to people.
Yep.
Out. Like,
yeah. And so that's Brazilian labor law and the labor courts and stuff. It's rough. It's
legislating little interpersonal things. It gets fucked up fast.
Yeah.
It's like bathroom laws, and there's all sorts of stuff that's like, it's so personal. Why is Uncle Sam staring at me take a dump?
Yeah.
Guys, it's like 4:00 now.
All right. We should. So you were Liberian.
I didn't talk about Liberian politics though.
You want to talk about it next time, or we could do like 5 minutes now, or 20 minutes now, or something?
Man, it's like an entire podcast.
All right.
I want to get into education at some point.
What's up?
I want to get into education at some point. Let's
do Liberian politics and education next week.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Let's do it next week.
Yeah, Paul, just let me know when you can, whenever you guys decide.
Oh, you're about to see.
I'll try to do it next week.
This time was pretty good for me because it's Sunday morning, not too late.
Yeah.
It works pretty well.
Sunday afternoon, and it's a little bit of a pain for me, but and if we could do it, like what would be 11:30 my time, so that would be 7:30 Paul's time. I'm not sure.
You guys want me to end it, or?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, you should.
I should end it. All right. This is good. Good podcast.